Hello everyone, this is Ray Islam. Today we're gonna talk about generative AI. I will post a series of videos on generative AI. It's been a while since I posted my last video, so I'm back again. I thought let me share some more experiences with the audiences. Little bit about my background. I'm Dr. Ray Islam. I'm a faculty of University of Maryland, College Park, and an adjunct professor at George Mason University, Virginia. And I teach mainly generative AI, natural language processing, and cybersecurity. I assumed multiple leadership role in artificial intelligence and machine learning and cybersecurity domain. So last couple of years, I did had the chance to do lots of work on generative AI, especially using GANs, Generative Adversarial Network, for image processing, video processing, and GenAI for natural language processing, large language model mainly. In my last role, I was advisory specialist leader in Deloitte. In this series, I will try to share all my experience, and I will try to bridge my experience with the academic knowledge and show the real world application. In Deloitte, I was able to build strategies for the generative AI, and also they have another team called Model Foundry, building technical guideline, how things should go moving forward, how projects should be taken, build scoring system, and also at the same time team requirement, what sort of skills they may need, what area Deloitte should be focusing on. I have created a project called Dear Dad, and to do that I collected lots of data, open source data. I will show you the source, and then I can build text file as data, and then build a NLP model for using ChatGPT and also using user-defined data, the data on the Dear Dad open source data, and build a chatbot. I used GPT-turbo 3.5. Let's talk about ChatGPT model. I hope by now we all know what GPT means. GPT means generative pre-trained transformer. The name says the definition. It's a machine learning model. ChatGPT model is machine learning model. So there are two major parts. One is the model, another one is the API. I had a chance to work with OpenAI. We know ChatGPT is by OpenAI, and also to understand their offerings in terms of API and the types of model and how this model has been pre-trained, what sort of data they have been using, and all those. ChatGPT models, there is a bunches of list of models, so we'll see a couple of them here today. Those models are basically machine learning models. They are pre-trained on huge data set, and those models cannot be downloaded, cannot be accessed. We can use them as a black box. Why it cannot be downloaded? I mean, even if we could, it would not be much useful, because those models are trained on a huge data set that needs very big computation power, and generally individual users don't have, a small organization, they don't have those computation power. And then I assume one of the reasons they are inaccessible for the quality, and also so that they don't get corrupted. There may have business aspects as well. And then another section is ChatGPT API. What is API? API is basically an interface to connect with the model. So since the model are somewhere in OpenAI's server, somewhere remote, we don't know where, so we need to connect, we need to communicate with the model, right? We need to use the experience of the model. So to connect, API is used as an interface. I mean, by now I hope we all know what API really means. With API we can do post request, we cannot do edit request, we can post request, and can use the model to our business need. So this is a high-level diagram. There are the users, the interface is the API, and there is the model. User basically makes request to model, and model, based on its learning, whatever data we plug in or whatever data source out there, it does the math, it does the prediction or generation or transformation, and then it returns the result to the user. So let's consider the model as a brain. So through the API, we ask questions, we can give the model data, or the model can use other data. So the model, based on its experience, which is pre-training, it basically looks at our question, does some analysis, gets the result, and returns to us. So that's why it's kind of like black box. I mean, we mostly do not know what kind of data the model was trained on. There are many different ChatGPT models. Some of the updated ones are GPT-4. In GPT-4, there are multiple versions. Basically, this model also, their capacity depends on how many tokens they can process. Tokens are basically, after cleaning, there are the words, after stemming, lemmatization, and all the cleaning. Say, for example, GPT-432K0613, this can process lots of words. GPT-4, it can only deal with 8,192 tokens, less amount of tokens. The other historical model are GPT-3.5, current version is GPT-4, GPT-3.5. This is the model I'm going to use, turbo basically. So at the end, I'm going to use this data set. It's a data set about relationship between father and son. And I'm going to call this project Dear Dad. And you can go to the site and you can look at the data and read the article. This is an article basically. I broke the article into 3 different sections and I created 3 text files. Now you don't have to break it, because at the end of the day I'm going to regroup all those 3, merge all those 3 text files into one regardless before I feed the model. But I did it just to show, but just for practice purpose. And in future, all the generative AI videos that I'm going to post, I'm going to try to use this project for demonstration purpose. Okay, now let's build a chatbot. Now, first of all, I'm going to have to download all the packages and all the libraries. Let's install first IPY widgets. This is a widget that interacts with Jupyter Notebook. So I'm going to pip install IPY widgets. Let's run this. Okay, there are some warning. Warning is fine. As long as there are no error message, we should be fine. Okay, let's import libraries. First thing, you always import OS. OS is a very useful library. And we are going to import OpenAI, because we are going to communicate with OpenAI security key and all those. We will talk about that. And import IP widgets, that widget from IPython display. I'll import display and clear output. These are the libraries necessary to communicate with Jupyter Notebook. A little bit about IPython. IPython is a command shell package or library. That's going to communicate with Jupyter. And display is a function in IPython display module that really can display elements graphically on Jupyter environment. And clear output is basically a function clearing the output of cells in a Jupyter Notebook. So let me run them. There are some syntax error I made. I believe IPYWIGETS at widgets. Oh, okay, it's a typo. Actually, it shouldn't be N, the clear output. I was talking and typing. Let's come next. Let's make sure our directory are right. So I basically stored my data here in my PC, and knowledge, under knowledge I create a project daddy. Under daddy I have 3 sample documents. Okay, this is how my documents look like. So I basically scrapped data from that section. The section is basically from that website, and created 3 different files, text files. Let's make sure that we are in the correct directory. And to see directory, I'm going to just print from the OS get current working directory and then run. That's not the correct directory, so I'm going to have to change the directory. I'm going to change directory chdir like Unix, copy the path and make sure I brought the path here right. Let me copy the path. Now I'm going to type. It took it, so it should have changed the directory, but let's make sure I got it right. Okay, so I have the right directory where all the data are. Okay, the rest of the section is gonna take long if I type one by one and do troubleshooting. So what I will do basically, I will post this code in my GitHub. You will see the GitHub at the bottom of the video once it is posted. And those of you who know my GitHub already, you guys will find it there. I will just copy and paste before I build this video. I can basically try it at my end first. So I'm going to copy from there. I'm going to get all the files in the current directory and read each file if it takes it. Basically, I'm going to read each content of the file, and I have created a directory and to import all the files. So if I click this one, okay, it took it. And as you can see, this is my sample number 5 text. This is the content. There's a division line. And then sample number 6, this is the content. It's all about father and son relationship. The role of a father, the importance of a father, and all those ways to foster positive relationship and all those. This is sample number 7. Okay, so I've created my directory, and the original storage directory that is there, it's not going to change. But for the calculation purpose, I create a directory within Jupyter. So I'm joining. I'm going to use a join, and it took it. API key. So this part of the video I will cut basically because I don't want to show the my API key. That's a security reason. Resume. So my API key will be, let me define a variable. API key will be here. Before I type my API key and pause the video, let me take you to the section where you will see the API. I mean, you need to have an account. Okay. Once you have an account, you come to openai.com, which is here. You come to view API keys, and you can, I already have 2 generated. You can always create a new one. Okay. And it will give you API key. It's pretty straightforward. So I will do that. So I will cut this section, I'll copy my API key, and I'll come back. Okay, so I ran my API key, I deleted most part of them, kept some part. It's going to be very difficult to unmask the API key from this information of data. So I think I'm good. The security I maintained. I have defined the function to interact with ChatGPT. Okay, so if you look at, I'm using GPT-3.5-turbo, this model, and this is basically take the message and return the message. I'm going to use a widget. I'm going to build a widget so I can plug in the information, ask the question, and then get the answer in return. So I am going to copy it here. As you can see, this is the widget information. These are the width of the section. I'm going to have a prompt window, not really prompt, but a box, input box. This is the size of the box. And these sections are going to send information. So it's going to create a send button. You click it, and then it's going to use, this is basically printout, so you can use anything. But this is using ChatGPT 3.5, and it will give the answers. It will take the questions. If I run this one, there are some error. I'm going to have to correct them. Widget is not found. Why widget is not found? Okay, I understand actually. I ran it wrong. Widgets, okay. It's not really widget. So I will run this, and then it gives me a box. My data was on father and sons. Let's ask question now. Summarize the importance of relationship. You can type anything between father and son. We send it. Let's wait. It may take some time to return, depending on the processing ability. And Turbo 3.5 is a very big model, huge machine learning model. Okay, so this is the summary. The relationship between father and son is utmost importance and all that. If I would have gone back to my content, father and son is the most potent and influential bonds and all those. You will see there are so much, there will be some similarities since it's summarizing, it's regenerating. That's we call it GenAI, and it will give us summary. It came twice because I hit twice. My mouse is very sensitive. So say for an example, I want different question. Write 5 lines relationship between father and son. And if you do that, as we can see, it wrote 5 lines. Line 1, line 2, line 3, and 4. It's about father and son. Okay, so our coding and our architecture work. We know our Turbo 3.50 model pre-trained. So there are so many different kind of outside data is there. And we are combining our data with ChatGPT data, right? From this output, we can tell this model, Turbo 3.5, is basically reading our data and producing this result. Let's make sure that our model give us other prospect answers of other questions from pre-training that it already went through. So our model, say for an example, it's a father-son relationship. We never talked about movie or Gladiator and all those. Gladiator is one of my favorite questions. Our goal was to build a chatbot that will take knowledge from both ChatGPT's past learning and also from our new data. From this result, we can tell the data was taken from our data. Now, let's ask it a different question. That's outside the boundary or context of this data, that user data that we input. If ChatGPT can answer a different question, then we will know that ChatGPT is also using its historic knowledge, not only learning from our knowledge. So let's ask, have you heard of the movie called Gladiator, which is out of context from the data we have given? Let's send it and let's see what it does, what the result it gives. Yes, I'm familiar with the movie Gladiator, historical movie, Russell Crowe as Maximus, Decimus, Meridius, and all those. Double because I double clicked, and paid as Joaquin Phoenix. So this data was not part of the user data that we have fed. This answer, it proves that ChatGPT is not only taking our data, but it's combining our data and its historical other data that it was trained in this tool. So that's all about Project Dear Dad. In this project, what we basically did, we generated a simple chatbot using user-defined data and ChatGPT's turbo model and historical knowledge. If I keep updating my text file, my user-defined data, the answers gonna be evolving and can be commercialized. Okay, that's all, folks. Thank you.